Hello friends and welcome to my channel Iballdesigningdeveloper. Like you all know that previously we have started a new C++ series and we have covered up many of the videos in that, and I hope you enjoyed all the videos which we have covered up in this C++ series yet. So now we are just moving on to the end of this series because we have covered up many videos previously on, and I'm just covering up more videos to show you that if you are working with C++, so what things you can do. So in this video I will be just telling you about recursion, that what is recursion in C++. Here in short words we can say recursion is a function which is called by itself. So you can just say it as a function, but now we will be seeing in practical that how we can use recursion in C++, what's the work of recursion, why we use recursion and how we use recursion in C++. So I hope you will be enjoying this video from start, in which we will be learning about recursion here. So if you understand this video and if you enjoy this tutorial here, so remember to hit a like to this video, and if you are new on this channel, want to see more videos like that, so remember to subscribe, and after subscribing hit notification bell as well so you can get the notifications of all my coming up videos which I will be uploading in future. So now what we are waiting for, let's move to computer screen and let's get started. So now here we are on the computer screen, and like I've told you in the start that today we will be working on recursion in C++, that basically what is recursion, why we use it, and what's the purpose to use recursion here. If we talk about recursion, basically recursion is a technique of making a function call itself. This technique provides a way to break complicated problems down into simple problems which are easier to solve. Recursion may be a bit difficult to understand. The best way to figure out how it works is to implement with it. Like it is simply saying us that recursion is a technique of making a function call itself. This technique only provides a way to break complicated problems. Like if I'm creating any program and I'm getting any complicated problems in that program, so I can use recursion there to break that complicated programs or problems into a simple problem which will be making us easier to solve that problem. So that's the thing of recursion. Like recursion make your problem easier to solve. In short words you can say that. And recursion may be a difficult to understand because it's really, like you can say, it's really complicated thing. That's why I am just preferring you to understand this little bit with focus so that you can understand everything which I am just telling you about recursion, because recursion is difficult to understand, like I've told you here. Not really much, but you can say a little bit difficult to understand, and the best way to figure out how it works is to implement with it. And we will be implementing recursion with an example. Adding two numbers together is easy to do, but adding a range of numbers is more complicated. That's a normal thing here. In the following example, recursion is used to add a range of numbers together by breaking it down into the simple task of adding two numbers. Like if I'm adding two numbers, so it is easy to do, but adding a range of numbers is more complicated, and that's the thing which we do in recursion that makes it a bit you can say a little bit of difficult. And adding two numbers will be easy for a beginner as well. Like if I am a beginner, I am starting with recursion and C++ is my first language which I am learning, so it will be easy for me. But if I am adding more range of numbers which are complicated, so as a beginner I will be just confused that why I am adding more numbers, or if I am adding more numbers, so what output I should be getting and all that things there. So that's why I need to just tell you all these things from start, so you can just understand that if we are using recursion with different range of numbers together by breaking it down to simple tasks, so how we are getting, and we are getting adding two numbers in the output here. So I am adding one integer which is called as sum, and in that sum I have defined one integer called k, which is a variable, and in that k variable I have written if k greater than 0, then return k with some k minus 1. Why I am adding this k minus 1? K is a value which is 0. It is referring 0. And then if this value k cannot be minused by 1, so you have to return the value as 0 if it is not being minused. K is a variable, means k is a alphabet or variable, you can say anything to that, but it's not an integer value, and we can only add integer value with an integer value, or we can subtract an integer value by an integer value. But k is not an integer value, it's a variable. So that's why when we will be just subtracting a variable from an integer value, so obviously it will be not getting the output printed. That's why in the else value we will be getting the answer as 0, or you can also say that the value which we will be returning in the output will be as 0. Then you can call another function of main. This is another function and this is another function which we are calling of main, and in this function I am adding one another integer which is result, so that I can get the sum of 10 which I am adding here in this function, and then we can just print this result here so that we can get the output of this result which we are printing with sum of 10. So now example will be explaining you that when the sum function is called, it adds parameter k to the sum of all numbers smaller than k, and it will be returning the result. When k becomes 0, the function just returns 0. When running the program, follow these steps. Since the function does not call itself when k is 0, the program stops there and returns the result. That's the thing, simply that if you are calling this sum function which is added here in this main function, so it will be adding a parameter k to the sum of all numbers which are smaller than k, and it will be returning the result. And when k will become 0, so the function will be returning the output as 0, because k is a variable and obviously k value will be as an integer as 0, means k value will be called as a 0 value in an integer. So that's why when you will be returning that k value here in the function, so you will be getting the output as 0. But when you're running that program with these steps which I am telling you here, so from that you will be getting the different, you can say a different output in your terminal, that the program will stop there and it will be returning the different result. The developer should be careful with recursion, as it can be quite easy to slip into writing a function which never terminates, or one that uses excess amounts of memory or processor power. However, when written correctly, recursion can be a very efficient and mathematically elegant approach to programming. It is just saying us that if you are a developer of C++ and if you are using recursion here, so it can be quite easy to slip into a writing function which can terminate the excess amount of memory or processor power which you are using in your desktop. So it's just saying you that if you are using recursion, so it will be quite easy for you to slip into the functions and you don't need to do that. So for that, you can write the program correctly, and when you will be writing recursion correctly, so it will be really efficient and mathematically elegant approach for programming or to programming for a beginner. So that's the thing about recursion. Now what I'm going to do is simply I'll be copying the example, totally example which we have seen here of recursion, and we'll be understanding it practically, that what output we are getting and why we are getting that output in terminal. What I'm going to do is I'll be moving on to Google Chrome. I'll be using same IDE which is Replit. You can open it and you can just log in with your account. If you don't have, you can sign up. And after doing that, I'll be just adding my REPL name here. Like in this video, I'm telling you about recursion, so I'll be adding here like this, recursion in C++, and I'll be pressing enter so that I can save all the things which we have just written here. And I'll be removing this thing as well. Right here, include IOStream like this, which is the starting code of C++, and then I will be adding using namespace std here, and then I'll be moving down again and I'll be pasting all the things which we have copied, because we are using function here. So in this function we have added one other function which is initSum, and in initSum I have added some values here, like if k greater than 0, then return k plus sum, and in sum we have added k minus 1, which is a variable. K is a variable, so this value will be called as 0 in an integer, and if this cannot be done, so you will be getting the output as 0, because we are returning else return 0. And in main we are also getting some things, like we have added one another integer. In result we have added sum 10, so that we can get this 0 printed 10 times, or the sum of 0 as 10. So now we will be running it to see what output we are getting, 10 or 0. So I'll be simply running it. I am running and you can just see the output is 55. Why the output is 55? Because this 10 which we are getting here is multiplying it with 5, and if we multiply 10 by 5, it's 50. But when we multiply 50 by 5, so it will be a different answer. So that's why when we are just printing this thing, so the output we are getting is 55. If I change the value here to 3, so now you will be getting a different output here. Like if I run, you can just see now the output we are getting is 22. Like this we are getting the value printed as 5. And now if I just change this thing here to, like if I run it again, because we are getting, so 22 is the output. Now if I run it as 2, means if I change the value from 3 to 2, so the output which you will be getting now will be as 30. Like this, you can just see how we are getting different output printed. Now if I change it to 5, then again you will be getting the same output printed as 15. But now if I just remove these all things, and if I change it to the same value which we were getting, which was k minus 1 value, so I will be running it with that value, so to check the answer is coming same or not, I'll be simply running it, and you can just see the answer is coming same, which is 55, which we are getting with this 10, because we are getting this 10 multiplied several times so that we can get this 55 answer in the output like this. So I hope you understand how we are using recursion in C++, how we are getting output of two sums which we are adding together, and how we are getting the function printed in the console as well. Because in practically we didn't understand that if we are using recursion, so why we use, because normally in theory I have told you that if you're using recursion, so why you're using it and how you can use it. So I hope you understand that all things. But if you have just not understand some things, or if you missed some part here, so you can just comment me down in the comments below so that I can understand what things you have missed out. So I'll be covering up that things in the next video of recursion which I'll be uploading on this channel, because it is a little bit of you can say difficult thing or difficult topic in C++. That's why I'll be just covering this thing again in my tutorial series or in any other video also. So just I'll be meeting you in next project, and I'll be coming up with more amazing things of C++. I hope you understand this video. So remember to hit a like to this video and subscribe on this channel, and also share the video so more people can learn about these amazing things. So I'll be just meeting you next project or in next tutorial series of C++ in future. So for today, goodbye.